Hello and welcome to Life Giving Business. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. I am so happy. I'm so excited. I have been designing this class for quite a while. I mean, honestly, when I think about it, this class is really a culmination of I have been full-time in my coaching business for going on, I just passed 7 years a couple months ago. And I've worked with almost 5,000 clients, and I have been distilling, refining my most valuable processes and the ultimate intention of what it is that I want to share with my clients. And this is what it is: it is life giving business. It is you having a business where you feel at home in your business, you feel confident, secure, you are giving and receiving in a delicious full capacity. You are aligned with your gifts and your values. You are going out in the world and making changes. And I have so much to teach you. And so we're going to get straight into it, straight into it. So, how are you going to get the most out of this class? How can you sink in and get the goods? So, one thing I will say is that this work is paradigm shifting work. What do I mean by that? So, the way I operate in my business, the way my clients learn to operate in their businesses is a paradigm shift. It is a shift from how the vast majority of the world is operating in relationship to work, is operating in relationship to money, sales, their businesses. And it is going to ask you to practice this again and again, to integrate and keep reintegrating, um, so that you can hold it. Because if, think about it, if something is not the way everyone else does it, it can be easy to drift back into cycles of overwhelm, burnout, etc. And we don't want that. So I'm going to ask you to come here, really be open, really let what I have to say land for you. Because when you shift into the life giving business way of operating, it is so. So freaking worth it, but it is a paradigm shift in your nervous system, in your body, in the way you see the world, and the way you see yourself. So be present, be here, be open. I invite you to take notes, but you will also receive these slides. So you can go back through and write down the things that resonate with you, write down anything that really lands with you. Also be aware if something rubs up against something that a belief that you're holding. It's never a video without my dog saying hello. Bubby, Bubby. If you know Forrest, you know Forrest. He's my angel baby star. Also guard boy. He's like an 86-pound. Uh, he's a scary boy when he has to be. So yeah, feel free to write down anything that either resonates with you, or if something is coming up against one of your beliefs, or like you're like, wow, I would like it to be this way for me, but I feel like that's not possible for me. Take note of that, because again, we're shifting paradigms, we're shifting your ways of operating. So the more you can notice, like, oh, I'm limiting myself here, I'm playing small here, that's really powerful too. And it's going to shine light on your shadows and, yeah, open up potential and possibility. Okay, one of the biggest things is to actually integrate and implement what I am saying. It's going to take time for it to sink in. It's literally shifting your neural pathways, shifting your nervous system, shifting how you operate, the actions you take, the beliefs you hold as truths, right? So let it integrate, let it sink in, let it, like, you're gonna, I really recommend people to do little by little by little, titrate up. Um, and then implement the things that we're talking about. Like, you're gonna be asked to make changes. If you're not liking how things are happening now, you need to make changes, okay? You don't need to let it get more, let yourself get more burnt out or worn down or resentful of your business. Implement changes, okay? And that takes a lot of courage, I understand, but that's why you're here, okay? I'm going to give you some choices that will support you with that integration and implementation at the end, if that's something that you're desiring. And the last thing is feel free to connect with me. I know I'm just like a person on your screen, but I always say when I'm recording my podcast, when I'm doing these classes, when I'm on the other side of my phone, I'm a human, I am here. So feel free to send me a DM on Instagram or TikTok to connect with me, or an email, and let me know what you take away from this class. I would love to know. Okay, so this class is for you. If you are a big, sensitive, gushy hearted lover of life and the world, you are most likely someone who has gone through initiations and challenges in your life, and you have overcome. You are a strong ass. I could say a lot of different things right now. You are strong. You are strong. You are someone who, but you're strong, but you're also soft, right? And you're learning how to take the things that you have, um, gone through and expand your capacity for service and for love and for joy and for receiving and giving in your life. You're someone who deeply cares. You're highly sensitive. You might have some neurodivergence. You might have some things that people are like, think is a little woo woo or a little like, you're a mystic. You're, perhaps psychic, you have a lot of like highly sensitivity, focused ways of being and operating, and you would like your business to be supportive of these things, your big gushy heart and your high sensitivity. But sometimes it feels like business conflicts with those things, and like you have to not be as sweet and soft and loving and also like you don't fully get to display all of your power. Like, you have all of this power inside of you, and you don't feel like you really get to let it loose. And you can sometimes be afraid that people are going to think you're a bad person, or you judge yourself for wanting success. You're afraid to tell people what you do. All of this kind of stuff can come up. You feel tired and you've been burnt out, you've felt scattered, like you don't know what the right things to do are. Sometimes it feels like you're just like out there trying all the different things, but nothing's really like fully landing and fully sticking. So maybe you're in this place where you are maybe making enough in your business, or you might be in this place where you are actually pretty successful for your industry, but you are still feeling disconnected from your business. You feel resentful of your business. You feel drained, burnt out, emotionally, physically, mentally, all of those things. And business can feel heavy and complicated. And you want to experience freedom. Okay. So you want to feel freedom energetically, internally, to be able to wake up, run your business in a way that you love, that you feel so excited to do. I'm very thankful to say that I have never resented my business. I have never, ever burned out because of my business. I actually resolved burnout. I'm going to talk about my story here in a little bit. I resolved and healed from burnout and adrenal fatigue, like physical burnout. My hormones were all out of whack, everything, while running my business. I freed up my time while scaling my business, and created, lush financial support as I was scaling my business as well, and fulfillment, all of these things. You want to feel more fulfilled. You want to feel like freedom to do things the way that you want, to feel clarity on what that vision even is. Um, and to really feel like very present and alive when it comes to your business. You want long-term sustainability, long-term regenerative success where you are like so solid in your business and so solid in your wealth, right? Such a freaking fan of big-hearted people, people who are in spiritual practice, people who care about the world, people who care about the environment, people who are kind, people who have like integrated both their shadow and light, having wealth, having the resource and the power and the choice that comes with money. and that coming through your business, through your gifts, right? And you want this long-term, like recurring revenue, starting the month or the year already in overflow. So you're not in this place of like living month to month, or you want to do this in a way where it feels more nourishing and better for your body. So I got you. This is my specialty. Okay, so perhaps you've tried the spaghetti at the wall thing. You've tried constantly like reinventing the wheel, going over here, I'm going to do this strategy, or I'm going to try this strategy, or I'm going to try this strategy, trying on others' ways. You feel like maybe you get stuck in comparison loops, or like there's things that aren't really serving you that are motivating you in your business. There might be a lot of like scarcity, a lot of fear running your business, and these things are depleting you, right? And maybe you're not even implementing structure. You know that having some organization, some structure, some support, some strategy, a business model, all of these things would be so beneficial for you, like a clear vision, a direction, that masculine, that sacred masculine would really support you, but you haven't done it and you feel resistant to it. You might be operating and you might have, like some overwhelm and all these kind of things. You might be feel like you're very influenced by hustle culture. You get into these states where you notice, okay, I've outsourced my power, or you just wish somebody could fix it for you, and so maybe you've even hired coaches from that place, and we're not doing that here. um and you have your offers, your systems, they feel confusing. They're not very scalable. You know you want to reach more people, and you know you want to reach more people more deeply and more resonantly. And you know that that's what's on the horizon for you. Okay, so my intentions for you today are I want you to see, right? We're going to start to create this paradigm shift in your body, in your business right now. Okay. I want you to see, I want you to go beyond a business that drains you. Go way beyond it. I want you to even go beyond a business that's sustainable. Sustainable is what's coming in is going out. So you still get capped, right? And I want you to open up to business, your business, designing your business in a way that it is amplifying life. It is filling you up with life force energy, right? Well being, money, things like that are life forces that come through fulfillment, joy are life forces that come through your business. And it is creating life for the world, creating life force for the world. So it is helping people heal and expand and bring more joy and love into their lives. It is supporting people in the ways that you are meant to do. It is cycling out into communities and into the environment in ways that add benefit to the world. Okay. So we're not operating in an extractive place, right? Where we are self-abandoning, abandoning our values, perhaps getting into unconscious, like, being in like kind of greedy, grabby energy. We're not even in sustainability. Okay. We're not being drained. We're not being, in sustainability in is what's going out. We are being in a state of a life-giving business. Okay. I want you to see that this is really possible, and that your business can operate from a place of love and joy instead of fear and force. If you notice that your business day to day, you are making decisions from a place of fear, scarcity, not enoughness, um, feeling like you're stuck, feeling like you don't really have that many choices, not feeling like you can trust yourself, that is going to keep you in these cycles. And we're going to talk more about this later. And I want you to shift out of this today. Okay. Once you see it, you can literally never go back. You can never go back. Okay. Because you're going to keep catching yourself and coming back and shifting it, shifting it, shifting it. Yay. I want you to connect to your inner source of wisdom, love, and power, and see that when you design your business based on this, your results for you and for the world amplify. And naturally, one of my favorite things is when my clients say, oh my gosh, the most amazing thing happened, and it happened so organically. Yes, because you designed your business based on your nature, your center, right? Each of us have this inner core of wisdom, love, and power that we can connect to again and again and let it drive the show. But we have some wounds and we have some, in Buddhism, they call them obscurations. These we get deluded, we get confused, we get hurt, and we have these like coping mechanisms and protection, and we carry those with us, right? And we don't need to do that. So we're clearing things away and coming to the state. So this is not just for your business, right? This is being work first. This is being work first that impacts your business. Okay. I want you to look at, I'm going to talk through some examples, right, of what this actually looks like in practice. So I'm going to talk about my business. I'm going to talk about my clients' businesses so that you can get an understanding of what this actually looks like, how to implement it, and how to create that regenerative success in your business. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to tell you about who I am. I feel like it's very important that you know me. Who the heck is talking to you? Who the heck and why am I teaching on this? Why is this important? Why do I care? So I'm Melissa. I live in Boulder, Colorado. I'm from Tennessee originally. My fun facts are I am a singer in a choir and a fun, lively band. Um, I am a dancer of all kinds. I'm really interested in salsa dancing right now. I love to cook. I love to eat. I have a dog who introduced himself earlier. I love nature, camping. I am super interested in style and fashion. And I have a business. So let me tell you about it and my coaching and how I've integrated my own version of life-giving business and success. So I started posting on social media in 2016. I was an engineer. I was in engineering school at the time. And I was very focused on success in a way that would fill voids. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to show everybody that I could do it and that I was the best. And I was really trying to heal my wounds from this place of proving myself. And I was a very creative child, like many of us children, like all children, I feel like, and I had lost touch of my creativity because, again, I was choosing things not from this place of love and joy, but from let me heal myself. I experienced a lot of childhood trauma in every way, sexual, physical, emotional, etc., etc. And I wanted to heal myself, but just didn't quite know how. I started my healing journey when I was 15, but if you're someone who's been on a healing journey, you can know that it takes time and layers and coming back to it again and again, right? So I started posting on social media, sharing my story, sharing what I was learning, and my social media grew over the course of the next couple years. By the time I started my business in 2018, I had about 40,000 followers on Instagram, and I was already burnt out. So I've done a lot of burnout recovery since then, which I'll talk about in a minute. But my some of the healers I've worked with have suggested I was probably in adrenal fatigue, right? So actual like my hormonal system being dysregulated. So when you're in burnout, it's not just you can push through, it's not just emotional or mental, it is actually a physical imbalance in your body, in your hormones, in your nervous system that can amplify and lead to chronic illness, digestion issues, rapid aging, all of this kind of stuff. So I started burning out when I was a child. And I just, a lot of times when we get into cycles, it's all we know and we just keep it going. So that's what I did. I worked super hard. I got multiple jobs. I, tried to prove myself with my grades. I studied all the time and I got more burned out. Um, and I didn't really know how to manage my stress. I started doing meditation when I was about 18 or 19, and it benefited me greatly. I was on medication from the time I was 15 until I was 21. And I remember being told that I was just going to be on medication my entire life because that's just how I was. An anti anxiety medication. I was diagnosed with social anxiety when I was 15. It was very hard for me to make friends, very hard for me to even really speak, which is funny because now I literally teach, and my doctors told me that this is just how I was, right? And now I literally make a living speaking, and no one would ever know that unless I tell them, because I'm super social and comfortable in my own skin, and it's because I found holistic tools. And so I took myself off medication. This is not me telling you to do that. I lived in the middle of nowhere and really did not have support, and it was very hard. And this is not medical advice, but that's what I did. Okay. And it worked out for me. Um, so I was like, I had a near death experience, and then my dad also was sick for a while. For about 6 months, we were really afraid that he was not going to make it. He did. It's all good. In part because of big holistic lifestyle changes. And it was a huge wake up call for me. I was like, I do not like the direction of my life. I don't like being an engineer. I'm feeling so like just depleted and dead inside, and coming home from work every day crying. And I made a few friends who were entrepreneurs and saw people doing it on social media, and I was like, well, maybe I could do that. I'm building a social media following, which, by the way, you do not have to have that many followers to have a very successful business. I've worked with people who have less than 1,000 followers who make multiple six figures a year doing what they love. Okay, so I want to be really clear about that. But I started to think maybe I can do something different. So I started my business with that intention. My first year, I made $50,000. My second year, I started applying everything that I teach now. So I really looked at, I really thought I had in my mind that I was going to make like $20,000 in my first week because I had a relatively big social media following. That did not happen. I didn't know how to sell. I was terrified of money. I felt super conflicted around money. Like so much internal conflict of wanting it, but feeling ashamed, not wanting to talk about my services, not wanting to sell things, not wanting to talk to people about what I did. And I started applying the tools that I now teach, learning about business and about money. And my second year in business, I was teaching meditation, teaching retreats, teaching yoga classes. I started doing life coaching. My first course ever was called Worthy. And my business made $225,000 my second year. I was like, whoa, I literally just 5x'd. That actually 5xing happened over the course of about 5 months. And it was a wild ride of expansion. It was really beautiful, and I learned so much. And that growing just, and then so my business grew, and people started asking me, what are you doing? What's happening? I want to learn how to do this. And I started teaching about money and business. I got invited to teach in masterminds and things like that in late 2020. So over the next 2 years, my business brought in thirty to $50,000 a month consistently. I went from living month to month to buying my dream home. It was this beautiful eco sanctuary up in the mountains. I fully healed and devoted myself to recovering from burnout and childhood trauma. I did a ton of nervous system work, somatic work, breath work, acupuncture, functional medicine, so much. Continued, some lifestyle changes, diet, nutrition, like everything. I did it. I expanded my spirituality. So I took Tibetan Buddhist vows, the Bodhisattva vow, may I gain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings, myself included, in 2018. And I've been to so many retreats and gotten to sit in a lot of deep meditation. I have a teacher that I am devoted to learning from, and many teachers who I'm very close with. My creativity expanded, making art, jewelry, singing, and I got to work with thousands of clients. I've gotten to work with thousands of clients at this point. In 2023, I started the year, and I remember this date very clearly in my head. It was January 6th, and I looked at my recurring revenue that was coming in for the year, and I was like, you know what? I'm set for the year. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is mind blowing. And in March, and I was like, I'm so glad. This is so beautiful. I could literally like chill the rest of the year. And that's kind of what ended up happening a little bit. Not really, actually, at least in my business. So what happened is I had done so much healing, but apparently I had not done quite as much healing as I needed to in the realm of relationships. I came home from a trip to discover my fiance having a major psychotic break that had been ramping up. Now I know this in hindsight, but I did not know it at the time. It had been ramping up for about 6 months. And it turned out that he was a real live narcissist, okay? I mean that in every sense of the word. Like actual, he had lied to me about core parts of his identity. I found this out after the fact, like core parts of his identity, core parts of his finances, his career, his history. I found out that he'd been cheating on me with multiple women. I found out that he had lied about his like he had DUIs and like a history of drug abuse and a history um of being hospitalized for mental health issues, and I had no idea. No idea. Looking back, I'm like, "Oh, there were signs." But he had been gaslighting the shit out of me. It was very intense, and I'm very thankful that I was very protected through that. He also became violent with me in the last couple of months of our relationship, but it took me a while to uncouple. So this breaking point, right? And there were so many logistics that followed after that. It was very intense, you all. It was very intense. Of selling my house at a huge loss. I had to massively, massively shift the trajectory of my business. I really took all of these healing tools I had learned and immediately started applying them because I was like, I am not going to end up with chronic illness or in a place where I cannot function, which very much could have happened with the level of trauma that I experienced from that. And so 2024, the rest of 2023, was spent, I was selling my house. I was navigating, making all these decisions, these logistical decisions. Um, yeah, I scaled my business back tremendously. There were hearings for about a year and a half, and I spent 2024 really looking at myself and healing, grieving, feeling everything, processing, um, and also making sure that that never happened again. This was a generational thing. I saw my mom experiencing abusive relationships. So I really looked deeply at myself and my patterns and my shadows and ask myself like what in me can I transform so that this never happens again. And also looking at who am I in my business now, what do I care about? And I remember this moment, I had this visceral moment of looking of I was actually in Yosemite National Park, and I was up on a mountaintop and I was meditating, and there was a part of me that was like, am I gonna have a big shift? Am I gonna like have a different career path? And what really came through for me and what's felt true ever since has been like, no, your impact is gonna be bigger. Your impact is gonna be deeper. You're gonna be able to work with people in more profound ways to hold deeper, more loving, more transformational space. And that's what's been true. That's what's been true. And I get emotional thinking about it. Yeah, that's what's been true. And I'm so thankful. And 2025, so I really started reworking things in my business, setting these beautiful long-term foundations for even more life-giving success, life for me and life for the world. And I am so excited for everything that I've created in the last year and everything that is to come. I have some big projects on the horizon, and I'm just like so thankful to get to do this work, to get to work with the clients that I get to work with. And I'm beyond thankful. Beyond thankful. Okay, so when I started sharing this work, some really big things started happening. And I want you to start to see a potential. One of the biggest things that helped me anytime that I have wanted a change in my business is to see is to rely on someone else's evidence, to yes, rely on my own knowing that this was possible, right? If you have that knowing that you're like, I know I am able to have more life force in my business, to have more joy and well being, to have more money coming through it, to have more impact. Um, I want you to rely on that truth, but also rely on my story and rely on what I can share with you from my clients. So these are some examples. I have more examples later. Um, this first one over here in the corner, can you all see? Yeah, you can see my arrow. This first one, um, she was a energy worker. She worked with people's nervous systems, did deep spiritual work with people. One of the things we worked on a lot was her being like, how do I share what I'm doing? I don't know how to talk about it because it was so intangible, right? And a lot of people might have that experience where you're like, how do I describe what I do? And I remember very clearly her sending this screenshot. This is an incredible client who has gone through so much in her life and has alchemized it into a beautiful, pleasurable, highly impactful. Um, she's about to throw a massive event. Um, this client does education for people who have been in traumatic situations and creates containers for them where they can come tell their story and get support. And we created a very simple, scalable plan for her. And I just knew that it was going to that was going to like have a massive impact. This is an astrologer, you all, who is doing really incredible, highly impactful work with people. Um, yeah, and just, like some beautiful feedback from clients who are really truly enjoying their businesses, doing things that they love, that they care about in ways where they feel really, really supported. Like this client, for instance, one of the things she said, she's still in recovery for herself for some things, and she was like, I'm scared that I'm going to have an off day, or that I'm going to have a day where I can't deliver, or I'm scared it's going to be super complicated or drain me. And I was like, it does not have to be that way. Let's set it up in a way that is based on your well being. And yeah, I mean, more money in 2 months than in 2 years. So excellent. Okay. So I want you to see that you can have a business where you make a lot of money, where you are deeply nourished and supported, where you are having the fulfillment impact, and you have the well being and joy that you deserve, that you absolutely deserve. Okay, how did this happen? I so by embodying the and implementing the life-giving business paradigm, this was not something that I went out and was like, this was revealed to me. I feel like my experience with anytime I've had like a modality or something that's like quote unquote like trademarkable, like I could trademark life-giving business, right? Which I won't do because I'm like I don't want to take the time to do that. Anyway, because I like things simple. Um it's been revealed to me. So this phrase started coming through for me a couple years ago, and it was really, and more it's just been like the core of what I work on with my clients. And we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to take you through a business audit that is going to help you shift into more of this life-giving way of operating. Okay? La 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 la. So what is it? What is this? Okay, so it does not, so many people, one of the biggest questions I get asked, I have a podcast episode about this, how I recovered from burnout, like actually healed from burnout while scaling my business. It does not mean you work harder. It does not mean you deplete yourself more. It does not necessarily take more time and energy. It's working with potency. It's working with your nature. It's working with life and life force and the ebb and flow of life, and it's learning to work with energy in a way that creates much more potent results versus you just going around and doing things from your wounds and throwing spaghetti at the wall. And it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. We are working with potency, clarity, truth, rhythms, ebb and flow, death and life, decay and growth, to have a vital, vibrant, regenerative, scalable, nourishing for you and everyone it impacts and the world business. Okay, a business that actually nurtures you and nourishes you. You give so much. Your business is meant to give back to you, and not just give back to you, but give back tenfold. You are meant to become more vital, more radiant, more joyful in your business and outside of your business, to have space for your loved ones, vacations, adventure, your spirituality, healing, well being, your menstrual cycles, your to grieve, like to be with the ebbs and flows of life, to be in your creativity, etc., etc. That is what is meant for you. That is a different way of operating. It is a paradigm shift, yes, but it is possible. And when you opt in and decide, I'm going to hold this standard for myself, it takes courage to do that. Yes, it will take time. This is not a quick fix. This is not a switch that you flip. This is a way of operating that will change your entire life. Okay. It is an integration of the worldly and the spiritual, and of structure and flow, masculine and feminine, yin and yang, these two pieces working together in harmony to uplift you and your business and the gifts that your business gives to the world. So many people I work with feel a conflict between spiritual and worldly. You're either on the spiritual side of things and you feel a resistance to structure, to discipline. I like to call it devotional discipline, to implementing strategy, to money, to business itself. And we're going to clear that resistance. Okay. People sometimes tend to be on the other side of things, attached to the worldly ways of operating, pedestalizing money or fame or, their to do list. And then sometimes it's good to integrate into more flow and into more of the spiritual and bring out your intuition more. Okay. So the old ways, the way that is not aligned with life giving, is where you're burning yourself out. You're over giving, you're people pleasing, you're self abandoning, you're going in feast and famine cycles. You are, you lose yourself in your business. Your business was complicated. And so when we feel like something is complicated, when we've decided something has to be complicated, we either don't do it, we either don't show up to it and we avoid it, or it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you because you believe it's complicated, you overcomplicate it. You are doing that. And it does not have to be that way. We're gonna trim it up, simplify it. Okay. Life-giving business is stewarding, is nurturing, is intentional, is in integrity and congruence with who you truly are, your core of wisdom, love, and power, your gifts, your values, your well being. Business is simple, straightforward. Okay, sounds good? I like it. All right, so let's do an audit of before and after. I decided, I didn't decide. Again, it was like revealed. I think things are revealed to me. I don't just go out and make shit up. I just like, this is very, if you're interested in human design, I'm a 1-3. So I go out and learn things by doing it and applying things, applying what I learn. So I started to break down a couple years ago what are the actual different areas of a business that when you apply energy there, awareness, nurturing, so not fixing, not pressuring, not not forcing, but nurturing, intentional awareness, nurturing. It helps your business thrive. And I've broken these down into 6 areas, and we're going to talk about them right now. Okay. And you're going to refine your business based on what we talk about. Okay. The first one, identity and your inner world. This is the first stop I always have with people because I honestly do not care about there are a billion different strategies and structures and offers and all sorts of things that you can do in your business. But I don't care. I really don't care. That doesn't matter to me if it's not in alignment with your nature and what's going to bring you joy and your gifts. It just it's just not. And um and I've seen people do this again and again where they'll scale beautiful, highly successful businesses. I've seen businesses that have scaled up to $300,000 a month. Mhm. And then they burn it to the ground because they hate it, because it's not in alignment with who they are and it's draining them. And they did it to fill some voids and try to heal their wounds unconsciously, and it didn't work. It only perpetuated their wounding. Okay, so we're not doing that. We're not going to do it. If you've done it, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I've I did it when I was trying to become an engineer and wanted everybody to think I was special and cool because I was the best engineer in the world. I wasn't, but I wanted to be. I wanted to be. So before you outsource your power, you swing between being hyper independent like, wait, hyper dependent and hyper independent. Okay. So this might look like really seeking external validation, seeking it from social media, from your family, from people around you, being hypersensitive to like taking it personally when you receive negative feedback or someone being a hater. Um, hiring a coach or mentors from this place of, can you fix me? Can you just solve it? I'll do anything you want. Right. I did this, I learned this lesson really early on, thankfully, when I hired I hired a coach who, it was like a year-long container. It was huge edgy investment for me at the time. It was about like $18,000 over the course of a year. And they were marketing in a way that was like, one of their trademarks was literally, it was don't ask questions, just implement. And I actually am in a place now where I really question everything and come to a place of like what's true for me. And my truth, my body, my values, etc. And it didn't work. I didn't like it. It worked for some people, but I didn't like it. I didn't like I was learning. I realized I didn't want to run my business that way. And it was like, I was fixated on getting to 20K months. I thought once I get there, I'll never suffer again and my business will be great and I'll never struggle or anything. And that just wasn't true, first of all. And it made me chase quick fixes, solutions, and people who were offering that. Okay, so we don't do that. And I have a lot of people who've come to me after they've been in this place of perhaps doing that kind of thing, and we work that out. We work that shit out. Or you're hyper independent. You don't want help from anybody. You don't want feedback from anybody. You're just gonna like bootstrap it and do it yourself, and you never get support. You never talk to people. You never let people in. Okay. You perhaps have an inflated or repressed ego. This can be hard for people to admit to themselves. I've done it. I'm sure I'll do it again. Bubby, my dog is talking to me. Will you come here? I've done it. I'm sure I will do it again. And yeah, it can be very sneaky, but this shows up. I'm sure you've seen ways that you've done this in the past where you played small, where you have not actually stood up for yourself or you've self abandoned, right? That's a repressed ego. You felt not confident, or you've perhaps been in a place where like you've let some sort of greed or some sort of, like getting a bit inflated take over the show. And either way, that can hurt you. So you have also gotten into a habit of operating from your unconscious. You don't quite realize all the time that they're driving the show, but your wounds, your shadows, your fear, over attachment, avoidance. This can show up like things feeling heavy, things feeling confusing. You're not getting the results that you want to get in a way that feels good. Um, you know that you're operating from your core of wisdom, love, and power when you feel consistently good in your business, in your results, and in your life. Okay, so that's how you know. And your nervous system is dysregulated in relationship to your business. You have some overwhelm, some freeze, where you have perhaps some time in your day where it's hard to like function. You're exhausted. You're having trouble making decisions. Get into states of like feeling like you have to fight and push really hard and work really hard for success. Maybe you're like in flight and you're running away from your business. You don't want to talk about it with people. Um, you distract yourself, or fawning, where you people please, you do whatever your clients ask, that kind of thing. Okay, so when you integrate the life giving way of running a business, your identity and inner world turns into where you have full access to your inner resources, and you can also, so you don't necessarily need external validation, but there's a paradox here. Okay. In the life-giving business paradigm of things, we operate with like multiple things can be true a lot of the times. So you don't need external validation, but at the same time, you do practice interdependence because it is supportive, it is connected, it is joyful. So when you get support, when you are opening up for validation and support, it's coming from a place of a lot of love and nurturing and letting yourself be filled up. It's very intentional. You have a healthy ego expression. So you understand that, yeah, my work is amazing and incredible and transformational. But it's not like from this place of where you have to you feel like you have to prove it and you have to like get out there and show people what you got. You're also not operating in a place where you're um repressing, right, that confidence and how good your work is. So there's healthy ego expression. You are operating, making choices, making decisions based on your healing, based on courage, based on love, based on deep attunement to what is true. Okay, so when something comes up or when you're in a decision making process, should I do this, should I do that, you're asking yourself what actually aligns with my deepest truth, with my values, with love, with what I enjoy, with the standards I hold for myself. And you have very, very, very high standards for yourself in your life. Okay. Not from a place of punishment or from a shame place, but from a place of like, you deeply love yourself, you deeply love your life, and you deeply love others. And so those standards are naturally there. Okay. And you have a regulated nervous system in relationship with your business. You can handle uncertainty. You can handle the ebbs and flows. You can handle making big decisions and risks and hard conversations. You are open to receive pleasure and joy and money. Um, and your nervous system can handle all of that. Okay. So the ways to get there, I teach a variety of expansion tools, emotional release practices, shadow work, North Star clarity. This is something that I teach in all of my containers because, again, this is the basis, right? North Star clarity is understanding who you are, okay? Understanding who you are, what you want, what you value. I'm sure you've had experiences where you thought you wanted something, but then you were like, oh, I actually chose that based on disempowerment and my wounds. But having real clarity on who you are and what is going to serve you and serve the world and serve your business and get results that actually feel good and are really nurturing. And I teach this as an identity, and I teach this in all of my containers because it influences all of the more external things. Okay, the rest of the nutrients we are about to go through are impacted by this. Okay, so it's the first place I always start. And my course for that is identity. Okay, money. Before, right? You have an unhealthy relationship with money. There is a lot of deep avoidance or repression. So perhaps you don't look at money. You don't want to talk about money. You feel like money might be bad or the root of all evil. You feel guilt, shame around money. Listen, I was this person for sure. I did not want to look at money. I did not want to talk about money. I felt so much shame and weirdness about money. I thought money was gonna, right? We tie so much of our survival to money. Like money is a life force. We've all agreed it's how we have shelter, food, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and so we feel a lot of intensity when it comes to money. A lot of us have had money trauma, relationships that have been deeply impacted by money. In our developmental years, there's a lot of imprints that come at that are in relationship with finances, right? So we have all of these ways that money is skewed in our lives by either being in that repressive state or we get over attached where we idealize and pedestal money, we chase it, we get over attached to it, we cling to it, we hoard it. Um, and there's extremes on either side of these, right? So that's one part of being like not being in a life-giving paradigm with money. The second part is that so there's an intangible experience of money, right? Your relationship with money, and then there's a tangible experience of money. Money is actually something that is a life force that is out there flowing like water. It's very much like the water cycle, how it flows and changes shapes and changes hands and moves from your watershed to someone else's watershed to the greater watershed. And so actually having the stewardship skills to manage money and to build wealth, um, applying those skills and the habits, right? There are skills for it, and then there is habitually performing those skills. Okay, so it's lacking that after when you are life-giving with money, when you have a life-giving experience of money, your relationship with money is healthy, it is vital, it is abundant. Just like any ecosystem, it is flourishing, right? It is mutually nourishing where you nourish money and money nourishes you. You have a stewardship role with money where you know how to take care of it and you love taking care of it. There is flow, it is changing shapes, it's changing forms. You are moving it around in ways that is going to support your your energy to support the kind of business you want to have, to support the kind of life you want to have. You're good at receiving money and it's flowing to you consistently. You're good at building wealth. You are engaged with money. You are grateful for money, right? Um, and the money management and wealth building skills are habitual and they are practiced. Okay, so these are all things that I teach in Wealthy. Wealthy is besides my very first course ever that I no longer teach. So Wealthy is my current longest operating program. I still run it live with like monthly calls, um, monthly live calls. I have like an incredible curriculum in that course where I teach both the internal relationship and I teach money management and wealth building skills. Okay. Your offers, what it is that you're selling. So before life giving, it is very depleting, right? So the way that you deliver things, the way that you onboard clients, the way that you feel like perhaps have to get your clients results or want to make everybody happy. There might be a lot of people pleasing. You might be overcomplicating things. It feels very heavy, right? It doesn't feel clear. You don't feel clear on who you're talking to or who your clients are. And it's not scalable. You haven't been able to reach more people, to work with as many people as you'd like to, or to work with people as deeply as you like. By the way, I'm like petting my dog over here. If you see me like moving around and moving my arm, it's because I'm petting my dog. Um, yeah, and it feels intense. It feels hard to sell. It feels hard to talk about. It feels hard to talk about what you do. You question it a lot. Um, you're not sure how maybe you're working with people in a one-on-one capacity, but you want to work with more people, or yeah, there's a lot of different things that could come from this. And in the life-giving way, you design your offers based on your gifts and you design them based on scalability and what's going to have a deep impact on the kind of people you want to work with. You're really clear about who you work with. You're clear about who your clients are. You're clear about what your offer is, your product or service or transformation or experience that it is that you're selling. Because of that, it's clear. You also make it scalable. Scalable is just like being able to reach more people, make more money, or reach people more deeply in a way that is not taking up more and more and more of your time, because your time is a limited factor, right? So how do we make it scalable? And we'll get to that. That's another one we're going to talk about. Your onboarding, your delivery, your results are clear. You have systems in place, repeatable processes in place. And because of this is one of my favorite things. When your offer is clear, it is easy to sell. It is easy to sell when your offer is clear. Okay. So, one of the places that we go through this, I work with clients individually as well with their offers, but Root Workspace Holder is a place where we really go into that. Okay, your connection and your social media, right? So you might be more of an in-person connection, you might be more on social media, you might combine the two for the place where you create quote unquote leads, where you're connecting with people who will become potential clients, right? So before life-giving business, you are feeling resistance and shame when it comes to talking about your work, especially a lot of people who are in healing modalities, who are coaches, who are something non-traditional, can feel a lot of shame and resistance to talking about their work. Or people who actually create massive transformation for people have a hard time really owning that and really claiming it, right? And feel this resistance and shame to talking about it either in your marketing or when people come up to you on the street and they're like, hey, what do you do? Okay, so this is something I talk about with my clients pretty frequently. This comes up. Um, you operate from this place of feeling a lot of comparison or competition. You feel like you have to put others down or prop yourself up. Um, or you feel like not as good compared to other people. You find yourself looking at other people's stuff before you create. And creation feels heavy, conflicting, draining. It takes you a long time to make social media content and it takes you a long time to create marketing materials. It feels very intense for you. It feels like you don't feel open to that connection, right? Afterward, you are open to the connection. You love it. You love the creation. You're creating from a place of ease and love and that healthy ego pride in claiming your work and what it is that you do and being able to easily talk about it with anyone, right? Whether it be prospective clients, your freaking grandma, whoever, you can easily talk about it. You're in your lane, you collaborate, you're owning your gifts, right? And your creation, your way of creating content, your way of creating marketing materials, etc., feels very aligned with who you are. Again, aligned with your core of wisdom, love, truth, power. It's something that naturally flows through you. So it's energy efficient and it's joyful. You actually enjoy doing it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is what I teach in Sacred Cells. I also teach sales in Sacred Cells. So before, and again, I want you to be looking at these and being like, which of these can I shift? Where of these can I create more of this after, right? And the first place is having an awareness that this can shift. And then you're going to practice it, practice it, practice it, and it's going to integrate. Okay. So before, your sales feel slimy, okay? So you don't like selling, you feel like selling is bad, you really avoid it, or you feel like you have to like do the most to sell. You have to like overextend yourself, you have to perform, people please, offer ridiculous discounts all the time, et cetera, et cetera. And your sales feels confusing. It feels like you don't know what to say. You're always like, what do I say to get people to buy? And what do I do? And how does sales actually work? And it feels like you're talking to the void. It feels like you're like, just like, blah, blah, blah. And it's not actually landing or resonating with people. After you apply life giving business and you step into this paradigm, again, feel the settling in. Sales is sacred. There are infinite clients. Think into this right now. There are infinite clients who want what it is that you have to offer. They are there, they are wanting it. And sales is a sacred portal to connect them to what they want, what they already want, and what is going to not just want, but what is going to deeply and sacredly serve them and their life path. Okay. Sales is straightforward. You don't have to sit around being like, what do I say? When you know what your offer is, when you feel open to connection, et cetera, you just say it. You just say what you do. You say, here's what it is. Here's who the transformation is for. Here's how I serve people. Here's perhaps a taste of my work so that you can really feel if this is going to benefit you, et cetera, et cetera. And it's easy. It's straightforward. It's one of the easiest parts of your day. And it's joyful. It's joyful, really. And it's resonant with your soul clients. It actually really deeply lands with people and they feel that connection, that joy, that like magnetism, that pull to be more in your work, more in your business, more in your world. Again, I teach this in Sacred Cells. Okay, scaling. Scaling. This is one of the biggest places I love working with clients on because, again, I work with the heart led leaders who are here to have delicious, transformational impact with the world. So you invest in education and support that you're hoping is going to scale your business, right? That's why we get coaching a lot of times, business coaching in particular. You invest in it from this place, or you get a marketing team, or you get someone who's going to do your social media for you, or you get someone who's doing your copywriting for you, et cetera, et cetera. From this energy of fix me, I don't know what I'm doing, save me, I'm disempowered, I'm broken, my business is broken, ouch. And guess what that perpetuates? Exactly. You feel maxed out. You feel maxed out and you feel like you have to overcomplicate things. Um, Internally and externally, you just do not feel like you have the space to scale. Okay. If this is you, we got to talk. And then you're trying to scale like you see others doing. So again, outsourcing your power, being like, well, so and so is doing this, and it's okay. Like taking on other ways of doing things, trying things out. But if you are, it's beneficial. It can be very beneficial, but you really have to know yourself well and know if this is actually going to be what you enjoy. Again, like me in that story where I was just like, I don't care, I'll just do whatever you say, help me scale my business. And then I was like, wait, this doesn't actually, I don't like this. This isn't enjoyable for me. Isn't what I want. Um, you know, it's not beneficial. Okay. And then after you implement the life-giving way of doing business, I had to pause to take my dog out and I was in goddess mode and now I'm in cozy mode. Two states I know very well. Okay, anyway, so when you're scaling, you are actively, there's two types of space you need to create: internal space to scale and external space to scale. Okay, internal space is having the inner capacity. Oh my goodness, my dog. Forrest, come, come, come. come here. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Come here. Come here. Come to your mother. This is how my videos go. Come to your mother. Come, come, come. So funny. It's having the internal stasis scale where you feel, again, this is a nervous system capacity thing. A lot of times people do not like their nervous system isn't aligned with holding more pleasure, ease, success, visibility, celebration, money. So they will shut it down, block it out, sabotage it. You can have this is why, like, there are people who have $1 million to invest in their business and don't get it off the ground because they sabotage it, right? So actually creating safety and space in your body, these are practices that I lead my clients through to open up. And I've seen people, there's been times where I've literally led people through practices to open up space for scaling, and they've literally changed nothing externally, nothing. There were or like very subtle changes, like maybe a tiny bit of change in how they were talking in their sales, and had huge exponential changes. Like I'm thinking of one client who we did a really deep tapping session around her fear of letting in more success. And she went from having 0 people in a container to 12 people. It'd been like 4 weeks, nothing, nothing, nothing. We did this tapping session. In the last week of her launch, 12 people joined. Okay. And it ended up being like an $18,000 launch, literally just from creating internal space and then external space. And so I really like to look with clients. We do this in scale. So in my workshop scale, I walk people through this, but I also do this individually with clients, looking at what are the systems to put in place. How do we model your business? What are the offer suite you can have, systems for selling, repeatable processes, automations, perhaps delegation, different things that you can do in order to create the external space to scale. Okay. And you are actively and intentionally, not reactively, but actively and intentionally is based on your North Star. So I call it your North Star. I walk clients through this. It's like our first place to start, because I'm like, again, I don't care if you have a successful business, if you're dead inside, I don't care. So based on your well-being, based on your values, we want you to feel good about what you're doing, based on your truth. Truth is deeper than beliefs. Belief, anybody can believe anything, but actually using your true wisdom and discernment to differentiate what is actually true for you and your life and business. And joy, you want to enjoy it, right? Life gets to be fun and blissful and joyful, and it's not that way all the time, but I truly feel like, even in the hardest period of my life, I still had so much joy, because I didn't shy away from the grief and the pain and the shame and the frustration and the anger. I let myself actually process and experience those. And I could also feel joy and love and support and community and trust at the same time. Okay. So we want that for you and your business. Okay, so when you integrate this, when you keep doing so, I hope you just made a slew of notes for yourself and you're going to integrate it. Because if you don't integrate it, nothing's going to change. If you don't implement it and take courageous action and actually change some things, nothing's going to change. Your business becomes a vital ecosystem. It becomes regenerative, where success can continue and things can decay and bring more life. It's abundant, it's flowing, it's vital, it's in harmony, it feels good, it's nurturing. Success is obvious and inevitable. This is something I look at with my clients all the time. When my clients come to me and they're like, wow, I got this and this and this result, I'm like, it's obvious and inevitable, honestly, because when you have the skill, you have the heart, you create the space internally and externally, like, your success is obvious and inevitable. Period. You serve others while nourishing yourself. You are served as you are serving others. It is a cycle. It is not just either energy out or energy in. It is a flowing, interconnected cycle of service to others and yourself. I have people all the time be like, I took these vows. Service is at the root of everything I do. How do I create benefit for life? What does that actually mean? Right? What does that actually mean? That doesn't mean I'm sacrificing myself. That doesn't mean I'm a martyr. right? These vows I took, may I gain enlightenment. Enlightenment is simply the union of wisdom and compassion. So being able to see clearly, being able to bring a lot of love to it. It's a very powerful force when you cultivate these energies inside of yourself and you can see clearly, more and more clear. I have a long way to go to it. I am not enlightened, but you can see clearly, and I've seen even in the years since I've taken this vow and practiced this much more clearly what's actually of benefit to life, to others and myself. I'm included in that vow. My life has only gotten better, right? And so people sometimes think that if you're serving, you're going to be martyred. You're going to be depleted. It is not the case. You get to be nourished, your energy, your joy, your wealth, right? Money and spirituality do not have to conflict. Money is deeply spiritual. It is a life force. It is a way to give and receive with life. It is a way to be in exchange with life. And again, it doesn't have to conflict. Okay. It gets to be nourishing. And your business thrives, your life thrives, your well-being thrives all at the same time. This has been my experience. I've seen this over and over with clients filling retreats with people they love, clients who have, this client like changed her. She was doing something more, she was a psychiatrist and became a holistic psychiatrist and started working with people using her deepest gifts. And little bits that we've done together have had deep impacts, right? Of her doing what she really loves and making great money doing it and like getting to be there for her family and getting to deepen her spiritual path, et cetera, et cetera. People actually feeling super good as they are selling, as they are going about in their business. It flows easily from their authenticity, from their essence, right? This is a client who, when we were working together, they went from making maybe like $1,000 a month to $20,000 to $30,000 a month. And she really leaned in and did like some powerful inner work and also set up the structures and set up it's courageous work. It's edgy, but it's highly transformational. Again, it's doing something that you're not used to doing to get results that are not the results you have now. Like that's what it takes. So I want you to know this is what is going to hold you back from being like, I can't have that. That's not for me. Melissa, maybe I was literally about to say the first one. It's too good to be true. That's literally the first one. Listen, ho. Listen, ho. I've been through the ringer in my life. I don't need to go in to tell you all of my stories to let you know how hard it was, but I have freaking been through the ringer. I've been through some hard shit, okay? In my childhood and my adult life, and it is not a good excuse. Like my suffering doesn't help anybody else. Me staying addicted to my suffering does not help anybody else. I am here to process it. I'm here to process my pain. I am here to alchemize my pain and turn it into joy and light and love and power and pleasure because I'm not wasting my damn life. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There were times in my life where I literally didn't want to be alive when I was young. And then I had to, I was like, either we're going up or we're going down. And I decided to go up. And then times where I thought I was going to die that day. I had a very solid experience where I thought I was going to die in the next hour. Okay. And I didn't. Yay. I was in Hawaii when there was like a ballistic missile warning, and I was like, am I about to die? Am I about to die? And it was a huge wake-up call. And I've made decisions all along the way, and it has not always been easy. I've had to move through big obstacles and challenges and letting goes and all of this kind of stuff and looking at myself to create a lot of joy and ease and good relationships with people, even people I used to not have good relationships with. Um, don't have don't have low standards for yourself. And yes, it might take you, this isn't a switch. This isn't a quick fix. You don't just decide. You have to decide again and again and again and again and act in that way. Okay. You're in pain programming, okay? And again, pain is not bad. We are not shaming pain. We are not bypassing pain. Absolutely not. In order for me to move through the hardest, one of the biggest traumatic things in my life, I had to feel so much pain. I had to actually feel it. Feeling it is part of the way you process it. But there can be this thing where we're addicted to our pain, where we think our pain unconsciously, we think our pain makes us relatable. We think being broke makes us relatable. We think it keeps us safe. We think not shining keeps us safe. It's not. It's not doing anything for you. It's not doing anything for anybody else. You hear me? I'm like, am I recording this? How can I tell? I forgot if I turned the recording back on or not. Yep, we're recording. Great. I was like, this is good shit. I was like, please, God, am I recording? Okay. So if you're addicted to your suffering and you think it makes you special and you think it makes you relatable, etc., it's going to keep you burning out. It's going to, like be in cycles where, like, I put cancel culture here. This is like people think like tearing down other people. I mean, there's a difference in accountability. But honestly, I think if you like, I think of the Michael Jackson song Man in the Mirror, like be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Okay. And that's what you have control over. I also think of the prayer, the serenity prayer, where you can pray to whatever higher power you want. The prayer goes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Are you courageous? Will you make changes in your life that will improve your life and the lives of others? I'm telling you, it will be uncomfortable. I'm telling you, it will be uncertain. I'm telling you that you will have to try new things, but you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a business you love. You deserve to, yeah, be supported and live in your gifts and live your life to the fullest. Biggest regret of the dying is not truly living. I could die today. I could die today. There's one conversation I need to have with somebody. I'm like, okay, but everything else I've lived to the fullest. I've lived to the fullest. I am living out my gifts. I'm living out my joy. I am following what feels true to me again and again and again, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, again and again. Guess what? I've been at this for a long time. It doesn't get less scary, baby. It doesn't. You get stronger. You get clear. You get more grounded. You open up to more support. You can hear your intuition better. Okay. And relationships, like that don't lift you up. That's what happens when you're addicted to suffering and you're addicted to your pain. You think it's going to, like, again, keep you relatable. You will stay with people who talk down to you. You will stay with people who do not believe in you. I've done it. I've stayed with people too long who didn't value me. I don't want to do that. Do you? No, no. You need to be where you're valued. You overcomplicate things. Okay. This is there's like not a paradox. It's a self-fulfilling thing. I talked about this earlier, where you either, because you think things have to be complicated, you either shy away from it altogether, or you you fulfill the prophecy and you make things way more complicated than they need to be. There is a simple way to run your business. There's a clear, easeful way to run your business. Do that. Why make it complicated? No. You outsource your power. Again, look for validation, throw money at people to fix you, to save you. Don't do that. No more of that. Let's not do that anymore. You don't have the right support. So you get support in things that you don't really need support in. You hire a marketing firm because you hate social media. That's fine, but you could also learn to create content in a way that feels really good. It's fine if your business is big enough to do that, but if you're trying to save money and you're trying to, like, actually keep more of your money, you don't need to do that. I'm telling you, I make my content takes me about 10 minutes a day. Yep, 10 minutes a day. Okay. Um, and having the right support, the right kind of mentorship, the right kind of community for you. I pride myself on being like the people in my containers come back again and again because I've really looked at myself and looked at what's the kind of support that actually supports people and where people feel really nurtured and really nourished. Um, and if you're resonating with me, then I might be the kind of right support for you. Everybody's going to be different, but like you have to get the right support for you. And then not you might learn things but not actually go out there and implement and integrate it. So integrating is when it becomes not just something you're learning or practicing, but it becomes a deep part of your being. It becomes ingrained in your nervous system and how you move and how you see yourself and how you see the world and what you believe and what your default state of operating. That's integration, where you believe that business can be nurturing and supporting and loving and um, regenerative and overflowing, and that's the results that you have. Integration leads to results. Okay, and you implement what you're learning, what you're integrating to get the results. Okay, so we have to be, one of the best things I did is looking at myself and being like, where can I actually be better? Not from a place of shaming myself, but from a place of loving myself, holding myself accountable. So that's what this is. Some good old fashioned shadow work, looking at where am I holding myself back and why. Okay. Okay, so it's not just about believing it's possible. I want you to go beyond that, not being like, oh, this is possible for someone, or maybe this is possible for Melissa, or maybe this could be possible for me, but beyond that, where you're like, I'm actually not going to settle for less because it is true. It is not just possible, it is true. I've seen it so many times. You've seen it so many times where people are doing work they love and they are nurtured and filled up by it. Okay, so you hold that as a truth and you hold that as a standard, baby, a standard. Okay, again, here's more experience with my clients. My biggest month yet, and I feel the lightest and freest in my body and life. It truly does get easier. Another client, she did some deep work for a couple years to get to this point. Oh, and she said it felt so normal. That's one of my favorite things to hear when people are like, oh my God, it just makes sense. Oh, it's one of my favorite things in the world to hear when clients who are like so skilled and so loving and so deserving and do the work internally and externally. And they're like, you know what? When the results come, they aren't shutting down. They aren't shying away. They aren't sabotaging it because they're like, you know what? This makes sense. This just makes sense. Some other clients, this client was like seriously over functioning and made her business a lot easier. This one brought such a big, beautiful essence to her work. This one paid off $50,000 in debt. Powerful, became like a master wizard when it comes to money, built wealth as a single mother. This is one of my longest term clients. Yeah, really incredible.
Okay, if this is all resonating with you, then I am going to talk about different ways that we can work together because it would most likely serve you to work together. Also, I have changed again because I actually recorded that class a couple months ago and I've changed some things around and I love that class. I actually just rewatched it and I was like, this is so good. And I'm such a fan of, as I've been sharing, I value working smarter and not harder, and sustainability and long term being deeply supported by your business. And so I love that I created that and it continues to support me. So I'm just updating, talking about my different offers. Okay, so the first one I'm going to go the deepest into, and that is life giving business that has three different options. I love this offer. I have spent years actually intentionally working on this offer, and it has been, this is my life's work. You know what I mean? So at this point, I'm about to cross 8 years in business full time. I was working on things years before that. I was learning everything that I've been teaching even a decade before that. And it's truly the culmination of my life work thus far. I love it so much. I love everything we do in this space. I love the results from my clients. I love the clients that I get to work with. And I spent years, I'm realizing there's a typo, that's okay. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you about it. Okay. So life giving business is where it's a container, It's a course, it is coaching, it is truly like weaving an intention into your body. It is so deeply rich and supported in taking everything that we've just talked about and actually integrating it and it becoming who you are and the results you experience, that becoming your lived experience, a life-giving business becoming your lived experience. So in this space, there are three options. So one of them is lifetime access, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the other two that have live coaching are they are there's a year access to the live coaching component. Okay. And I'll tell you about the different options here in a minute, but they all have the same results. It just depends on the level of support that you want slash that you are available to invest in at the moment. Okay, so in this space, you will integrate deep embodiment, structure, and strategy. So it's working with the internal and the external, like we've been talking about along the way, being deeply supported by your perception and your body's relationship with business, with money, with your work, with social media, with marketing, with scaling all of these aspects with business that we've been talking about and also doing the foundational and building work, the root and growth work to have it be externally supportive to you and your clients and perhaps your team as well. So working with structure, working with strategy, aligning that with who you are. So it's not just a school and a training on business. It's not formulaic. It's not just slapping on like, here's what worked for me, or here's what worked for this other client. Here's what will work for you. It's deeply getting to know yourself, your ways, your gifts, your values, the kind of business and success that's actually a reflection of who you are, and then doing the external work to build and steward that. Okay, so you'll expand your capacity to give and receive business success at its simplest. I've said this for years, is simply learning how to give and receive. You're giving a service, you are creating, you might have offerings or products, and you are receiving. You're receiving money, you're receiving relationship with clients, you're receiving like feedback. Sometimes negative untruths get told about you and you have to learn how to not receive that, right? Because it's not true. But it's working with your relationship. And again, this is internal and external to give and receive. You are going to heal and expand your relationship with yourself, with money, with visibility and connection, with leadership, sales, and scaling. So all of these pieces, the six nutrients of a thriving business ecosystem, you will come to a place where these things, it's like you will become a master gardener in your business ecosystem who can simply take an overhead look at yourself and at your business and say, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. I know how to tend to these things. I know what needs to be done in various areas of my business. I know what area is the weakest link right now. I know which area needs the most nourishment and support. And that will shift over time. And having that skill set of having mastery in all of these different areas will serve you so deliciously long term. I have so many stories I could tell you right now. Like I could talk another hour right now about all the various ways that having this deep understanding and this mastery around not just myself, but also that interconnectedness with all of my business and all of the aspects of my business has been ridiculously supportive. And I've seen this again and again with my clients over the years. So you will either build or refine offers, systems, and a business model aligned with your North Star. This is one of the first trainings I take everyone through. Depending on which of the tiers you are in, we might also do this in person on a one-on-one call, but you are going to go deeply into looking at what is well-being to you, what is joy to you, what is creativity to you, what are your gifts, what are your values, what's actually true for you, and then that will start to ripple that into all the areas of your business. So if you're having feelings like whether it be stuckness or feeling like something's off or feeling like you have to constantly force things or feeling like you have to become someone else in order to succeed, right? Whether you haven't experienced a lot of tangible success yet or whether you have made millions of dollars. I've worked with people across the various like external success levels and help them come into a place where they're centered and aligned with their North Star so that that success actually feels good, that success actually is sustainable, it's not depleting you, or it's ramping you up and getting you going. One of the emails that you're going to get, so I have some emails that are going to come to you after this masterclass over the next couple of days. And one of them talks about the reactive versus repressed states in business. And you'll be able to see which of these you're more resonating with right now. And you'll learn a lot from that email. People love that email. So I would definitely tune in. Um, you'll develop and expand your original medicine legacy body of work. I truly believe that everyone who I think that at our core, everyone has the capacity for this, but or has the like there's a seed there. But I think that whether or not it can come to fruition depends on a lot of different things. And it's a very, complex, like depending on, because I believe in past lives, there might be past life influences. There's definitely like systemic influences. But if you're here and you are someone who's building a business, I believe that you're already in a state of a lot of abundance, even if you haven't made a single dollar yet. And you most likely are someone who you're you either know this and maybe you've already been building this, or you're starting to access it. So you might have had a lot of success, but you're doing it other people's ways, or you haven't had a lot of success yet, but you feel something coming through you that I call original medicine. So original medicine is that alignment with who you truly are, something that can't be replicated because you are so unique as far as your voice, your gifts, what you're here, the part that you're here to do in the world. That's being in reciprocity, right? And I really, really believe that, like I feel this so deeply in my work that I didn't start out as a business coach, right? I was teaching, like I talked about in my story before, I was teaching meditation, yoga, dance. I've always made jewelry. I was teaching on worthiness and life coaching, like general life things. But business coaching feels so good to me, and it feels like so deeply my medicine to give to the world because it brought out more of my gifts. It expanded everything that I could talk about, right? And there's other things that I talk about too. Um, my clients ask me a lot about relationships, both romantic, family, friendships. Obviously, I get into money conversations very frequently, conversations in spirituality and mysticism, mystical experiences. But I feel this so deeply, and I mean, this is life giving business is one of my legacies, right? One aspect of my legacy and a very big one. So yeah, you get to bring forward something that is original, something that is so true to you, something that you wake up every day and you're like, yep, this is my work, this is what I'm meant to be doing. There's no question, and it gets to develop into this body of work. And again, maybe that's coming through you now. Maybe you're ready to refine it. Maybe there's something more true coming through for you, more honest. And then you're going to thrive in being bank account and business, all the aspects. So this is not just about external success, as we talked about. I want you to feel at home in your business. I want you to feel secure in your relationship with money and your business. I want you to deeply trust yourself, deeply trust life, to have more joy and creativity, to be enjoying your hobbies and your community and your family, your children, your partner, whoever is in your life and whatever is in your life. This is also about true holistic success. And then you'll integrate spiritual and worldly thriving. This is something that a lot of my clients have come to me and told me they felt conflicted around. I used to feel very conflicted around this, and I'm very grateful that I have some truly incredible teachers in my life who a couple years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, all it kind of like it was like almost like this, it was time for this to be done. And they all kind of ganged up on me at once. It's not like they were hanging out being like, what are we gonna resolve with Melissa today? But and ganged up, it sounds intense, but they're sweet and loving and supportive, right? And um yeah, and I no longer feel conflicted between being a spiritual person and being, a person who has money and a business. And like plays in a band and sometimes stays out late and watches TV and like all of those things. They feel very deeply integrated um, and supportive of one each other. Okay, so in life-giving business, there are three options: the school, the collective, and the mastermind. And they increase in levels of support as you go up school to collective to mastermind. So the school is a self-paced, this is a meticulously laser-focused curriculum with practices, trainings, workshops, there's workbooks um, that are designed all around all of these aspects that we've talked about. So these are all courses that I've created over the course of the time in my business. We have whole, which is all about being, right? Your relationship with yourself, from being grounded to having mystical experiences. Wealthy, which includes a live call every month, which is about healing and expanding your relationship with money and developing money stewardship skills. Identity, which also has, I've called Become Success, um, which is about really becoming success. It's not about changing yourself, it's about accessing the innate reflection, the innate like who success is to you, what success is actually to you. There's an innate reflection of success already inside of you, and it's about accessing that and that coming forward. Rootwork Space Holder. This is about, so this is great for space holders. This is also great for anyone who's in a leadership position. So if you work with a team, anyone who has to deal with people at all, which is everyone. It'll help you with your family, it'll help you with your friends. Like when I was uh, originally teaching this, I had people coming and saying this was shaping their relationship with their partners, with their children. And well, it's actually, it starts with you. So all of the skills and all the modalities that you learn in root work will initially impact you. It's about your self practice first and then being able to share that. Sacred Sales. I love Sacred Sales. I just did an update on it, and it's about magnetizing soulmate clients. So I believe and experience that all of my clients are best fit clients. All of my clients are clients who I love working with, clients who love working with me. They tell me all the time. They send me tons of messages and celebrations. They feel really nurtured and supported, and they get great results. And that's my experience. And I've gotten really, really good at marketing and selling in a way where I attract those clients. And that's what I teach you how to do in Sacred Cells. And Cells is very simple, and there is a sacredness to it where there is a exchange at its core. Cells is just an exchange of love. Scale. So implementing optimization systems. It's also working internally, right? So like having the internal capacity to scale, working with everything in you that might feel resistant to scaling and growing, and then how to apply different areas, different systems and different like ways of working with your business that it can grow without necessarily taking a ton more of your time and energy. I had a client in this, I think I have a screenshot of her on another slide, where she said she messaged me after going through Scale, and she was like, she didn't have a lot of energy and capacity. She was going through some pretty dense life stuff and some health stuff. And that was one of the things that we applied here. And she messaged me and said, hey, so I made more money in the last 2 months after Scale than I did in the last 2 years. So hell yeah. Capacity. This is fully internal capacity. So working with your body, your nervous system, in order to be open to receiving more, to having more success. And I had a client also go through this, message me after and said um, she had her biggest month ever at that point. And she said it was because of this and because of doing the capacity work. I think it was like $15,000. And that may be in a different, I'm not sure if it's USD. Okay. And then Bloom. Bloom is my first business course. I love it. People still write me and tell me results that they're getting from it. But I basically, before I started more extensively teaching business, I put a lot of different trainings into one container. This is a really good place to go for like some very specific things. And if you're getting started, if you're not getting started, I will say there is a lot here. A lot of times clients will come in and be like, oh, this is a lot. You have lifetime access to this. And you do not have to go through everything to get like a lot of results and support. Okay. Um, and it's not designed for that, right? It's designed to be like a lot of support over a long period of time. The visibility portal, this is a new one that I just ran. And it is, and you also get live updates for a year, actually. So anything I teach live in the next year you get to come to, and all updates you get. Okay, so the visibility portal, this isn't like it's about content, it's about being visible online, but it's not like post this, now post this, now post this. I do give some prompts and things like that that are, of course, I think really good prompts, but it's really about working with your the deepest wells and your deepest roots of feeling open to creating. And a lot of times you don't need the prompts when you do this work because what to say and what to share and how to create just comes very organically. I really orient toward root level success so that things come very organically. Okay, you have lifetime access to every masterclass I've ever run. If I mean honestly, like I've some of those master classes, you can go look at the sales page. I'll show you here in a minute, but there's a lot of them. Um, there's a lot included in this, and this whole thing is, I mean, oh, I did put it here. It's $14,000 value. So how I calculate that is like I sold all of these things individually before I put it in the life-giving business school. And if you took the price of everything as I sold it individually and added it up, it would be $14,000. I also have some documents and templates. You get access to some of like my email templates and like a relationship document. And there's about like 10 in there of various different ones. Okay, so that's Life Giving Business School. And yeah, it's way less than $14,000, like way, way, way less. And you can find the rate at this website. And that will be emailed to you as well. Okay, then there is Life Giving Business Collective. Collective is the first level of getting more live support. One great thing about both Collective and then there's a mastermind, the community is freaking rad. Uh, and I'll say as well, this is for all industries. School is for all industries. Collective is also for all industries and all levels. School is also for all levels. So Collective is everything that I just mentioned. You get lifetime access to that. It is yours to keep. But you also get a private one-on-one call. It's about 90 minutes, and I take a full look at everything in your business. You fill out an onboarding form, and then I look at everything. We talk about it. A lot of times I lead a client through a practice. It's very emergent, but it's really like clients will come off that call and be like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I'm doing. Everything feels so simple. I feel really supportive. It's very expanding. And then you're solid on your direction for like quite a while. And then there are 16 additional live calls that you get access to over the year. 2 monthly live calls. One of them is a ritual call. And that I base on what is happening for the group, what I feel like would support the group. And then one call that is hot seat Q&A and coaching. So where we go around, my commitment is that everybody who's there live gets supported. So it's not just a few people. It's not just like you join a mastermind and I never actually talk to you. Everyone who's there live gets supported. That's how it goes. And then I do quarterly life giving business intensives that are all about building clarity, clearly knowing your direction, building momentum. These intensives are awesome. They're the first Wednesday of each quarter for 3 hours. All the times and everything are on the sales page. And then the Life Giving Business Mastermind. Okay, so this one is for facilitators. This one is just for facilitators. Other levels are welcome in collective and school. If you are in a different industry besides being a facilitator, you want higher level support, then one-on-one would be the place for you. I've worked with just about every single industry, like you name it, I've probably worked with them. And this one you get the 90-minute one-on-one onboarding call. You get access to everything in the collective. So that's the 2 live ritual and Q&A calls. You also get access to the quarterly intensives, but Here's the best part. You get access to weekly live masterminding calls. This is a very capped group. It's limited to 10 people. And so what we do on every single one of those calls is we come in, we do a short practice together, and I coach you individually. So depending on how many people are there, um, I get to really go in depth with you every single week. We do this every single week. Um, this is the space I started with, and almost every single person besides one person signed up for a second year. I ran 1 year of this, and every single person signed up for another year. Um, but this space is just for facilitators, so that we can really go deep, and there can be a lot of crossover and a lot of resonance across the board. Okay, and so what I am doing, because you're here in this masterclass, and this is, if this is resonating with you, if you're feeling called to join, if now is feeling like a good time, I'm going to be sending you some emails as well. Those emails are also packed with value and understanding and deepening in your relationship with yourself and with your business. And it also offers a chance to join all of the life-giving business options at 15% off for the next 6 days. So you can find I'm going to send these emails to you, but you can also find all of the rates currently on this website. Let me share that with you all actually. So this is the invitation page. So it has all the information. You can get more of a vibe, more of an understanding, who it's for, more details on some more information on me, more details on what we are doing, what's included in the space. I go into everything a bit more deeply, what everything is. I have current rates, and yeah, there's, ways to sign up. All of that is down at the bottom. Let me just share my slides again. Where is it? Here it is. I was on the wrong button. Yeah, so for the next 6 days, you'll be emailed the code where you can get 15% off and when you join. Okay, so I have a couple of slides that have some more of my client results. These are honestly, I actually did a search recently and I looked up how many screenshots I have of people telling me about how my work has impacted them. And I have like 900 and something screenshots. So this is just a few of them. There's a lot. Um, yeah, I'm really happy that like some of these are from Life Giving Business, used to be called HLB, by the way, Heart Led Business, but I changed the name. But yeah, I mean, like people started requesting to join for a second year when we were literally halfway through of my first round of doing this. Um, this client, it's really sweet, just saying like I shared something and like they immediately got a sale. This one was about, I'm not sure if you can see my arrow or not, was about a client we had our first onboarding call and they were like, excuse me, what just happened? I feel so much clarity. Our containers are awesome. This was from someone who's in wealthy who actually joined Life Giving Business in the last 6 weeks. And yeah, they said it changed their relationship with money forever. I love that, this is really what this work is about, is like, this is forever work. This is stuff that like once you know it, once it's not just like trying on, it's like really becoming and accessing what's already inside of you. I did ask some of like I did an open call on my Instagram for people for my birthday to send me messages with like any way I've impacted them. And this was from someone who is in life doing business, who created a whole ass witch school while we were in this space together in that year together. Um, this is someone who I've worked with for a couple years. She's still in life doing business. And they've just done so much while in that space. I'm fine. uh, like just so much feedback. This is the client who I made more in the last 2 months than I made in the past 2 years after going through scale. Hell yeah. This was a client who told me when we started working together, they didn't know how to describe what it is that they did. Um, they were doing, like energetic work with people, healing, and then sent me the screenshot. This client I worked with, I started with them in a short-term mastermind. Then they joined, it was like a 6-week mastermind. Then they joined a 3-month mastermind. Then they worked with me one-on-one. And they went from making like $1,000 a month to having a $29,000 month. And this was in cash. This is cash sales here, but it was cash. Um, this person saying they feel safe and comfortable selling every day in my authenticity essence. This, just things landing. Um, First 20K cash month. Ah, biggest month in our new bathtub. Gosh, words like this. I'm forever changed by the work we've done together. You can read this. These are all on the sales page too, if you want to, or most of them are at least, if you want to look more closely. Yeah, just yeah. I mean, this work is deep work. It is really nourishing. It is, there's a reason it's lifetime access to all of the coursework, and there's a reason that it is a year for the live coaching because it's very deep. It's, as this client says, forever changed. So yeah, those are some of the takeaways. So Life Giving Business is 15% off for the next 6 days. You will hear more and see more in the emails. One thing I'll share too, especially for collective and mastermind where there are the live components, most people do send me a message to connect before joining. I love that. I'm here for any questions. I'm here for any shares. Sometimes people don't necessarily have a question. They just want to share something with me or reach out and say hi. I'm here for it. You can do that via email. You can do that via Instagram. You can do that via, if you have my private Telegram, if you've been in any of my Telegram spaces, you can do that as well. Those are the best places. Instagram, email, or my private Telegram if you have it. Yeah, so you'll get all of those emails. Those will be landing over the course of the next 6 days. If you're someone who is interested in working with me, but you want to have deeper support, you want to have private support, you're a little bit of a diva who likes everything to be about you. This is how that's why I can say that because it's how I join containers and masterminds, but I like always have a private coach.